what is the most overriding thing you find yourself dealing with, thinking about, seeing pop up before you every trading day in the last week or two? We were talking earlier about this Trump reflation trade, and everybody's holding their collective breath for something phenomenal on taxes, and yet nothing so far.
Yep. Oh, I was going to say compliance, but I think it's US dollar at the moment, and the impact of US dollar expectations and trade for our region, and obviously the factors into the movement for that, whether it's going to be a Fed move or it's going to be geopolitical risk. And over the weekend, it was quite interesting to see, obviously, China make moves in relation to cutting coal imports from North Korea, whether this was off the back of Trump recognising the One China policy. But there's still lots of things to come, because you've still got US Treasury or Trump to make a ruling in relation to currency manipulator, which was very much his election stance for the campaign. But then you switch over to Europe and you have the hypothetical risks of, now you've got the German government, Merkel seems to be behind in the opinion polls. You've got a Holland election coming up and a French election coming up. So there's lots of risks out there that are also going to be impacted for US dollar, but obviously we've got the Fed minutes coming out on Wednesday. It's a long weekend in the US at the moment, so we won't see much here today. But I think it's really going to be centred around US dollar direction and expectations.
Do you think China will escape unscathed in this one? I mean, this North Korea coal one, you could say it's just a drop in the bucket and a very small thing in the overall scheme of how China has been a benefactor for generations ever since Kim Il-sung in the 1950s. But the fact that they're trying to at least create an optic, which should at least for a moment, just for a momentary glance, appease Mr. Trump. That's not a bad thing. It shows that maybe they're learning from what Abe did, right? Yeah. I mean, you go and you basically don't fight it. You just find ways to appease and calm the angry, person.
I kind of get the feeling they're actually coming around to the whole Trump and let's make a deal aspect. Doing these kind of things is kind of like saying, let's sit down and chat. Let's actually come up to a deal, because the US is still also talking about rolling out the missile shields and things like that. So there's lots of there's a big overlay on the geopolitical thing for our region, on the China-US side of things. But it is a big change in stance in relation to their actions to North Korea, and one may have to start to think, if the Chinese are prepared to actually make such a departure and a move, is there something we should really be concerned about?